looking at, well, as it says, supplementary stuff. And it has some real good things for us to learn and to be aware of. And I want to, I'm hesitant a little bit. If I said it all, and in a way that I've heard it said before about I can't say lady that we're going to talk about, she's a whore, so you don't call her a lady. Anyway, if I really bombastedly gave this out, it would be information that's true, but it would also, to get someone's attention, do you want to blow a whistle or do you want to throw a hand grenade? What's best? A whistle's better. Hand grenade's a little overkill, if you'll pardon the way of putting it. So I'm going to talk about this scarlet beast and the woman that rode her. Him. It is masculine. Okay. The woman is feminine, obviously. Okay. So as we go through this 17th chapter, then please keep that in mind. And I'm not one to try to hide behind nice words, but I don't want to be turning people off if I don't have to. You understand that? Oh, good. All right. Chapter 17. Then one of the seven angels, and he further tells us what kind of one this is, and there are going to be several of these seven angels they have another job to do. They've got one job done, but they've got another one. So one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls, we just finished with those, came and spoke with me, saying, "Come here, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of earth committed acts of immorality. And those who dwell on the earth were made drunk with the wine of her immorality." So we have this great harlot introduced by way of name. And the church has been having to deal with her for more than a millennium by the time this is kind of coming out. And I'm a little bit awash here. You see, this was written when? 98. Okay, about 96, 97, right along in there, AD. And so some of the things that John talks about, it was if he's talking from 90, we'll say 7, 96, whatever, from 97 AD, he's talking about then in the future. And then there are times when he isn't so constrained by chronology, and so he can jump there and so on. But here, okay, this great harlot has had her fling. And now one of the seven angels who had seven bowls, who had poured them his out, and each one of them had one, and they poured them out. Now, he says, "Come here, I'm going to show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters." And this idea of many waters, there are many people that she would rule many waters. See, water is more the universal thing on earth as far as we would view, and so water is people, and many of them, and this will get into this more in this chapter and the next. So he tells John, he says, come here, I'm going to show you something, and it's going to be the judgment of this great harlot who sits on these waters. And the kings of the earth were influenced by her to the point that they committed acts of immorality, and those who dwell on the earth were made to drunk with the wine of her immorality. Now, immorality, what's that? There are different words we use for it, and it'll bring up different thoughts. Fornication is one. Is that King James? Yes. That's King James. That's really accurate. A fornicator is a person who commits a sexual act and they're not married. So they're a fornicator. If they were an adulterer or adulteress, they were married and they committed that act. Fornicator, that's what this woman was. She wasn't married. Now, some people on the take of this passage, well, this was the church that went away from Christ. Well, that means the church that had been married to Christ but went away from Christ. This was never married. It's a fornicator, not an adulterer. So there it is. Now, immorality, we use the word adultery too. Also, it's immoral. The root word kind of fooled me. I thought, really? So I looked it up, looked a little deeper. Sure enough, it's idolatry. Idol worship. Now, we'll get into it later. All right. So that's this of the committed acts of immorality. The kings of the earth did this. The kings of the earth, in their social way, in their financial ways, in their political ways, they worshiped this great harlot. And so they committed acts of immorality. And they were made drunk with the wine of her immorality. They went into this so deep that they just really plumbed the depths of it. There is a difference between a person who likes to drink alcoholic beverages, we're talking about, and a person who is an alcoholic. Both is wrong. I mean, to be an alcoholic isn't wrong unless they indulge. In fact, it's a mark of character to overcome. But these kings were boy, they just plumbed the depths of this immorality stuff. And to get drunk on the power, get drunk on the high, and things that people are still looking for. They just want to get drunk on whatever it is that's out there that they can bring to themselves in such an abundance that, oh my. You know, I saw something the other day and I thought, man, somebody ought to squirt that person with a fire hose. There was a great cloud around them. How did that happen? You know, somebody says, can I smoke? And another guy says, well, go ahead as long as you don't burst into flame. But this guy, he was something out of his mouth, nose, and I couldn't see his ears anymore. It was just all clouds. What caused that? Go figure. If you're so innocent you don't know I'm going to leave you that way. That's good. All right. So they were made drunk with the wine of her immorality. And he, this angel, carried me away in the spirit. This is not physical. This is in the spirit. This has happened to John before. It's going to happen again. Into a wilderness. And I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, full of blasphemous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Gorgeous creature. That's the woman. This sitting. Now, that's not the description of the woman, but the beast would scare you half to death. This woman was sitting on a scarlet beast. And now, wait a minute. Let's see. This blasphemous names having 7 heads and 10 horns. Better look at my notes. Oh, okay. I got me now. We're not covering that just yet. We're going to wait till we get down to back to verse 9, 10, 11, through there. Will describe this to us. And when you can get the Bible to explain itself, that's the best way. So we're going to wait till we get there. And so we have this woman, scarlet beast. You ever heard of a scarlet woman? Okay. There we go. But we have a scarlet beast. And we're going to have a scarlet woman here. All right. Blasphemous names, having 7 heads, 10 horns. The woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a gold cup full of the abominations and of unclean things of her immorality. So, and I need to read 2 more verses here before we can tie this together. And on her head a name was written, a mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus. When I saw her, I wondered greatly. So we have the description of the false religion, the false prophet, the false teacher, the false church. And it's used as the figure here of a wicked woman richly clothed. Oh my, what she has on. All right, that's it. She's sitting on a scarlet beast. Scarlet, which is bloody, cruelty, harlotry. The beast is the devil. And she's full of blasphemous names. We get to that in verse 3 there, full of blasphemous names. And what about what's a blasphemous name? I'm not going to read everything that I have here, and I didn't even put down everything that I found. But just enough to give you the idea what I'm trying to put across. These blasphemous names are shown to us in the light of, the word is Mariolatry. It's the worship of Mary by the apostate church. Now, the lady Mary, who bore Jesus Christ because God chose her to do that, does not make her better than every other woman of the billions that have been born on earth. Doesn't make her better. It tells us that she did what God gave her to do, and she was good enough to do that, which is very special. So I wouldn't elevate her. I would not think of degrading her because of what God chose her to do. But to say, well, she did that, so all the other women are a bit inferior, I wouldn't say that because I don't believe it. Okay, but nonetheless, she has, but this apostate church has been elevated. Now, she's called Mother of God. She's called Queen of Heaven. Mary the Immaculate. So I'm quoting what they say. And listen to this, please. A quote. There is one mediator between Christ and men, the Holy Mother Mary. Now that's blasphemous. Paul put it to Timothy this way. He said that there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man, Christ Jesus. That's what Paul said in the scripture. 1 Timothy. Now, I could go on, and there are some that are just, it's blasphemy. You see, that's the point. That's the idea, and that's what it says here. There's this woman, and in her hand she has a gold cup, or a cup full of abominations, and the unclean things of immorality. On her head, and she's called Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. And so she has these blasphemous names that are mentioned up here in verse 3. And also in the verse 3, this business of 7 heads, 10 horns. As I said, we'll cover that after a bit. All right, gold and precious stones she had, pearls. These are worldly embellishments. She can't just be herself. She has to dress herself in such a way as to be far superior. She thinks, because of the way she's dressed. And God has in his word tried to tell us over and over and over again, it's not the clothing, it's the person. And we're not going to go into all of that, but there it is. We are to dress appropriately for the occasion. I kind of get, it's fun, as well as enlightening and a bunch of other things. In the morning before church starts, I take a bucket and a little picker-upper tool, and I go around, and especially down on McCarran, and pick up stuff. All kinds of stuff. Car parts and pieces and bits. Cigarette butts by the bunch. Trash of all different descriptions and kinds. It's like I say, it's kind of interesting. And I don't know what people think when they drive by. And here this guy is out there picking up trash in a suit. That's not appropriate dress, really. Maybe they think, my, that must be a really nice outfit. Their groundskeeper is pretty good, must be well off. Anyway, appropriate. And this, you stop to think about being appropriate. Maybe she is dressed appropriately. Try to point out what the world is like. It's so overdone, and when you peel off the outer layer, what do you have? With her, it's a bunch of ugly. That's all it is. Beauty is skin deep, but ugly goes clear to the bone. You've heard that. People used to tell me that all the time. I don't know what they were trying to say. Whatever. All right. So, what's her name? On her forehead, a name was written. Now, does this a mystery? Is that part of her name? I don't think so. I think it's just, that's more of a description for it says a name. And this New American Standard, updated, puts the title of her name in caps. And a mystery isn't. And as I looked into that, it's the mystery, her name is a mystery. That's not her name. Her mystery is her name. Her name is a mystery. How could she get this? Where did it come from? And as you look into it, it's like, ooh, wow. It deserves being looked into. But it's a mystery, whatever, something that's unknown. It may be that it's a mystery. How could this institution that she represents get what she got? And it's a mystery. And how could she go so low as to be what she was? And then there's a mystery, a little bit of mystery. Why would her name be Babylon? The city or the empire, Babylon, isn't what we're talking about. But it represents who it's talking about. Babylon was always Babylon, the troublemaker, Babylon, the problem to God's people. Always Babylon was. Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. And Babylon was used to punish the children of Israel 70 years in captivity in Babylon and so on. So Babylon is bad. It just, they're synonymous, those terms. Anyway, we have this mystery. How, for instance, how did she rise out of ashes? Babylon was this, that Babylon represents, this apostate church was said killed, but it rose. How did that happen? That's a mystery. And so there are mysteries that are involved with this until you get a chance to look at the whole situation. Now, with this, her name, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. That indicates, from what's been said already, she was a harlot, and so were her daughters. Her offspring, they were harlots. My. And she was the mother of the abominations of the earth. And we read a couple of things there that indicate just a peek at what she got into as far as names and abominations and blasphemies that she said and wore proudly, this kind of thing. All right, then I saw a woman drunk with the blood of saints and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered greatly. Wondered. I was amazed, astounded. How did this happen? I've wondered at some things. I've wondered. My phone would give me a trouble, and I turned it off this morning, and there was a news thing on there. I had heard a lot of sirens in Sun Valley this morning, early. And I went, wow, something's going on out there. Well, yeah, there was. There was a shooting, and an adult and a juvenile were shot dead this morning in Sun Valley. I can't pick up a news thing of any stretch, and you know, we're going to run out of people if we keep shooting each other like we are. Or all the crazy things that go on in this country. I wonder, how did we get here? The Oak Ridge Boys used to sing a song. How much further can we go? And listening to that, I thought, yeah, I think we just about hit the bottom. That was 45 years ago. How much wronger can you be? Is how much further can we go? I wonder. I'm amazed at where we are. I truly am. You had your hand up, Robbie?
In verse 6, your version said witnesses of Christ. Mine says martyrs of Christ.
Oh, witnesses, martyrs, okay. Verse 6, yeah, witnesses of Jesus. The blood was shed by these witnesses. That indicates they were martyred. They were killed because of their witness for Jesus Christ. She did this. Historically, she did this. Historically, meaning like last week, she did this. It's still going on. This is her. So, yeah, thank you. The blood of the witnesses, blood of the saints. And when I saw her, I wondered greatly. And I like, oh, what is this? Well, then we have the next two verses. It said, and the angel said to me, why do you wonder? It's almost like you should have known this was coming. Why do you wonder? Why are you astonished? I'll tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast. See, there's two individuals here. There's the woman who's riding the beast. I'll tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and is about to come up out of the abyss and to go to destruction. And those who dwell on earth, whose name has not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will wonder when they see the beast, that he was and is not and will come. And anyone who reads that first, just reads it, ends up with this conclusion. And I think I'm pretty safe. The conclusion is, I'm confused. I'm in that rank. Yeah, the first time I read that, I thought, I misread it. I better be careful and get the words right. And I read it again, and I was still in that rank of the confused. So this beast represents a government, Imperial Rome. We've talked about Imperial Rome quite a bit. It perished, Imperial Rome did, during the 7 trumpets. Remember, there were the 7 trumpets that we talked about. This is a couple of months or 3 ago. So let's see, it was, why do you wonder? I'll tell you the mystery. The beast that carries her, all right? Verse 8, the beast that you saw was, Imperial Rome was, and is not. It's about to come back, come up out of the abyss. It was destroyed, but now it's going to arise from its destruction with the help of the papacy. It's going to come out of the pit, out of the abyss. So, it's going to come out of the abyss and go to destruction. Finally, and forever type thing. And those who dwell on the earth are going to wonder about this. Now, if you stop there, you're going to remain very confused. We have to take the next 2 verses that explains this. And this angel really helps John out here. He says, Here is the mind which has wisdom. Okay, you gotta look into this, you gotta do some thinking and have some smarts here with this. And this, remember we said up in verse 3 that we were going to discuss this of the 7 heads, 10 horns later, and here's later. Here's the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Now remember, the woman, this harlot, is sitting on a beast. So the 7 heads are 7 mountains. That's the woman. And the mountain, the 7 heads are the 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings. 5 have fallen. Now, Rome sat on 7 mountains, and the city of Rome today still has 7 mountains. Sits on 7 mountains. That gives us a description of what we're talking about here. We're not just talking about some ungodly woman that's terrible, terrible. We're talking about Rome. And this Rome had 7 kings, forms of government. 7 forms of government. 5 have come and gone. Now there were the kings, consuls, dictators, tribune, and decemvirs. 5 of them. 5 forms of government, all different from each other in their way. 5 have fallen. 1 is. That's the one of John's day when he wrote. The emperor. It is. An emperor sent John to the island of Patmos. Domitian. He was the emperor. It's okay. 1 is. The other has not yet come. The other was going to be the military governors that ruled for a time, but that wasn't really very long. He said when he comes, he must remain a little while. That's the end of verse 10. Just remain a little while. And it doesn't give us an exact time. It ended up being about 180 years, but maybe 186, but whatever. But wasn't going to be in the space of all of this. That's just a short time. So we have 7 heads, or 7 mountains, on which the woman sits. And they are 7 kings. 5 have fallen. 1 is. The other has not yet come. But when he comes, he won't stay long. The beast was and is not. That is, would be gone for a little while. And is himself an 8th, and is one of the 7, and he goes to destruction. The beast was an 8th form. In Rome, the religious state, papacy, grew up within the temporal state, imperial Rome, the temporal government. So the 8th form was a religio-political form, an amalgamation, a marriage of the two. So thus, it is said, the woman rode the beast. The beast carried her. Imperial Rome carried the papacy. The papacy added direction and power to the beast, or gave its power back. So the temporal form carried the religious system. Does that help with that area? I hope some, because just to read through there, you're like, oh my word. John, you must have written that down wrong. No, he wrote it down just right.
The eighth system, the Holy Roman Empire is what's called the Holy Roman Empire, the eighth system.
See, Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire. There you go. You put it all together. It was married. It was amalgamated. They were in cahoots with each other, and one carried the other. So the beast that you saw was and is not, and is about to come up out of the abyss. Now, when we get back to beasts and all of that, we will a little bit later here in this chapter. We understand that the behind all of this was the devil himself. And then we talked about the beast that came up out of the sea, and then the beast that was from the land. And all of these are three characters that are interacting here. And if you haven't been here through all of this, I'm sorry. And you're probably going to be totally confused in some of the things I'm talking about. But it's here. It's here. All right. Okay, we go on a bit. The seven heads are seven mountains on which the woman sits. Now, verse 10. And they are seven kings, five have fallen, one is, the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must remain a little while. The beast, which was and is not, is himself an eighth, and is one of the seven, and he goes to destruction. We just talked about that. The 10 horns, which you saw, are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but they received authority as kings with the beast for 1 hour. These have one purpose, and they give their power to the authority of the beast. So now see, we're getting to use this term beast more, and as we do that, understand beast to be the one that came from the devil, that does the devil's bidding. All right, but with that now then, these kings, let's see, 5 fallen, one is, the other's not yet come. When he comes, he must remain a little while. The beast, let's see, I wanted to bring out, okay, verse 12. The 10 horns which you saw. Now we talked about the 7 heads and now 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings. They've not yet received a kingdom. Now, in 96 AD or 97 AD, these kingdoms didn't exist. So this is really looking way ahead, and it shows the accuracy and perfection of God's prophetic word. Looking way ahead, it says there are going to be 10 kingdoms out there. They don't even exist yet, but they're going to be, and they're just going to have a king. Now, they turned out to be the Vandals. We talked about them as time went on. And Visigoths, the Suevi, the Alans, the Burgundians, the Franks, the Britons, the Huns, the Lombards, and Ravenna. That's the 10 kingdoms that came to be. They each had 10 kings. So the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom. The kingdom didn't exist. But they receive authority as kings within the beast, or with the beast, for 1 hour. When they came, these kings had their kingdom. They got their power, their authority, they weren't real big. They weren't really very much. They were, some of them, we would call them states or counties, but they still had some authority and power. Where did they get it? It says they received authority as kings with the beast. So these weren't good kingdoms. And it said, then verse 13 said, they have one purpose. Joined together, they all have one purpose, and they give their power and authority to the beast. They got power from the beast, and they joined themselves together and gave that authority back to the beast to be used as he would have them be used. What a time to run out of time. I'm past time. I've got to stop. We'll do the rest of this next week, Lord willing. I had hoped to get all done here today, but next week.